Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you, along with head football coach Chris Brown, as we talk a little Fort Hays State football. We're going to preview a big game on Saturday at the second round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. The Tigers now know their opponent. It'll be the Ferris State Bulldogs out of Big Rapids, Michigan. They won their opener in their opening round game on Saturday at home over Great America Conference champion Ouachita Baptist. We'll talk about the Tigers' opponent and what they've done to get ready for the big game coming up here with Coach Chris Brown. The program, as always, brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. They're at 27th and Indian Trail in Hays, and by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burger, North Vine in Hays, the taste that brings you back. We'll take our first break. When we come back, head coach Chris Brown will join us right here on Tiger Talk. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock, joined by head football coach Chris Brown. The program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro at 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where you can experience the delicious cook-to-order food, rich and creamy frozen custard churned fresh throughout the day. It's all at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hays, the taste that brings you back. The Tigers gearing up for their first ever home Division II playoff game. It'll be Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock against the Ferris State Bulldogs, who won their first round matchup on their home field on a rainy day Saturday. We're joined by Coach Chris Brown, and we talked last week about the regular season, getting that bye and the importance of the win over Nebraska Kearney. Now your team has had that week, but back into game week mode now for a pretty big one coming up Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it is. You know, we gave them a few days off. You know, we gave them Friday, Saturday off, came back in on Sunday and did a team meeting and position meetings as well. Went through scouting reports, watched a little bit of film with them, and then, you know, today we're going to get started with practice. We'll actually get one extra day of practice this week to prepare for Ferris State, and you know, hopefully that helps us out. Hopefully it gets our kids prepared as well. But a little different week with having fall break here, no classes, nothing going on. But you know, you still have your accountable hours that you have to stay, you know, within regulations by NCAA rules with your kids. So we're still trying to do some things, trying to keep them in the weight room, keep them in film study. Still got study halls and those things. But you know, we're excited about this opportunity, and you know, I woke up Sunday morning excited, ready to get to work and start preparing for Ferris.
Yeah, it's playoff week. It's game week again, and it's kind of a neat thing to still be talking about that this time of the year. I know last week you mentioned you were going to spend some time with the young kids, the red shirts, who primarily run scout team for you. I mean, they're the ones giving the look of the opponents week in and week out and giving them some reps. I know that was a big thing in the last 2 years when you qualified for bowl games with the extra practice time. A lot of it was devoted to them. You did that a lot last week. How'd that go?
It went really, really well. You know, the first day was kind of, you know, a debacle. It was kind of messy. It was kind of sloppy, but, you know, they hadn't ran our plays in you know, a long, probably, you know, 11 weeks really. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was good to get them back in, you know, football mode with what we're doing offensively and defensively. But, you know, 3 days of practice for those guys. They got about 200 and something reps, which is a lot for young kids in 3 practices. But they got better each day, and they start picking things up better each day, and their techniques got better in those 3 days. And I really think that's going to help them prepare for this spring and get ready for next fall as well. But, you know, I thought it went well. Our guys got healthy. They still got some, our starters got healthy. I mean, they still got some reps, you know, as well in practice, and we did some strengthening stuff with them, just kind of different dynamic flex stuff that we normally don't do with them a lot. And, you know, I thought it went well. I thought it worked out well for us. I thought our kids were excited and enthusiastic, and, you know, I thought our young kids got a lot better.
You know, you mentioned, I think last week you said have them enjoy football again. It's not easy being on a scout team. I mean, like you said, you don't get to run your stuff. You're running what the opponent runs, and you're getting beat up by the main guys each and every week. But it's such a vital role each and every week to give a good look of what your team's going to face in that upcoming Saturday game.
Yeah, it's hard for them, you know, because I mean, we still got quite a few kids, you know, that can run scouts. You know, in the past we had to bring a couple guys down, but our numbers with the kids that we brought in this year has really helped us out with our scout team. And you know, it isn't fun. You know, I mean, it's a process that each kid has to go through when they come here. And you know, a lot of freshmen don't start for us right away, so they do get put on the scout team. And you they're going against our number ones and our number twos. And the thing I always tell them, if you go down there and you compete day in and day out, and you're competing for a starting job, you're going against some of the best guys in the conference. If you prepare yourself now and work hard now and work on your techniques and fundamentals, you might have a chance to play that next year because you're going to be prepared. If you just go down there and relax and just kind of go through the motions, you're not going to get better, and you might not play till you're a junior. So this is a great opportunity for you to show me what you got on film, because we do still watch film. I still watch those young guys quite a bit during practice just to see what they're doing, and this is our opportunity to show me and to prove to me that they're ready to play at this level.
And we've seen some of those guys come off their redshirt year and have key roles the very next season. And when you look at building a program and sustaining it, and this is really 3 really good years in a row, 8 wins, and now 11, and hopefully more. It takes that. It takes that next wave to come in and replace those who are moving on due to graduation.
Yeah, it is. We're going to replace some guys this year. We got 13 seniors right now, and we got to replace all 13 of those seniors. And we're working on these young guys to step up and fill some holes on special teams, to fill in and maybe start in a position or be a role player and get some reps in the game. And they got to prepare themselves right now to play so that they are ready, come next fall. Granted, we'll have the spring with them, but this fall is very, very important to them just to get used to the speed of the game and how fast it really is.
Well, we'll talk more about the young kids, obviously, as the future rolls along, and we see more of them on the field on Saturday. But a very important part of this Fort Hays State football team as they get ready for a big game on Saturday. Now those guys going back to scout team, they're going to replicate the Bulldogs of Ferris State. We'll talk more about the Tigers' week of preparation and look ahead to the big game on Saturday at Lewis Field as we continue on Tiger Talk. It's brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. And we have more right after this.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayspost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, real country. 99 KZ Country.
Back on Tiger Talk, Gerard Wellbrock, head coach Chris Brown. The program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where you can get a delicious cook-to-order double steak burger, crispy shoestring fries, all seasoned with Freddy's famous seasoning, and of course finish it off with their signature turtle sundae, made with their fresh, creamy frozen custard. They're on North Vine and Hayes. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. We didn't get a chance on our last program to talk about the all MIAA team, which came out, I think, last Tuesday, but 21 Tigers represented. You had a feeling you'd have quite a few when you go undefeated in the conference. You're going to have a lot of recognition, but certainly well received. 8 on the first team? Nathan Shepard, Defensive Player of the Year, second year in a row. You've had a player garner that honor, Cito, a year ago, and Brandon Brown, Special Teams Player of the Year. So how to be pleased with the all-conference team, obviously. Yeah,
I really, really am pleased. It's just the credit goes to our kids and how much work they put in through the summers and the time that they've been here. The last 2 or 3 years, and preparing themselves, for each game, week in and week out. And those honors are hard to get, especially those, Player of the Year ones. And those guys have done what they're supposed to do. Brandon makes all his field goals and makes his kickoffs, and that's a big impact, to a game. And then Nathan Shepard on the defensive line, being Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he's hard to handle up front, and those guys have worked hard. But credit still goes to their teammates, and their teammates doing their job as well to allow those guys to make plays and make things happen, because without their teammates, they wouldn't get those honors.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it helps to have success on the field as well. When you win games, you get a little bit more recognition because of it, so it all kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does, and with having that many kids, on the MIAA, all-conference team is huge, and, hopefully we can continue to do that. But the way you get that is just by winning ball games, and you got to win a lot of ball games. I mean, you saw Northwest years past; they always had, 20 to 21, maybe, 18 right in that area. But it was just because they were winning ball games and dominating games as well. And that's something we did this year. But credit goes to Coach Boucher too, of preparing those kids in the weight room, getting them stronger, getting them faster and more athletic. And it's a team effort to get all these wins. And I'm just really proud of this group of kids and our coaching staff and Coach Boucher and everything that everybody does to help us get to the point where we are right now.
What's that meeting like, the all-conference meeting to lobby for your players with all the other coaches?
It's a lot different. We used to always meet in Kansas City and do it, and now it's, it's on the phone, and you really can't tell what people are really thinking. When you can see somebody's face, you can really see what they're thinking, and if they're really telling you the truth, or they're just trying to get a kid an honor. And it takes quite a while. We started at 9 a.m. I didn't think we got done until 11:30, where we go through every position, and we talk about each kid over and over, and then each coach has got to vote on each kid, and you send them in as well to the MIAA office, and they calculate everything, send it back to you. Then you vote on defensive player, offensive player of the year, and special teams player of the year, and it's kind of a hassle. I personally like it better in person, because you can really sit down and talk to coaches and really fight for your kids. Where I think over the phone it's hard to do that. But I understand with coaches with playoffs and bowl games and those type of things, it's hard for everybody to travel and get to one spot at one time. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of commitment, and you're reading off all your stats, and hopefully everybody's listening to what you're saying and not focusing. Hopefully somebody's not watching TV while you're talking about your kid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not quite sure what they're doing when the phone is on. One other thing about Nathan Shepard, not only was he Defensive Player of the Year in the MIAA, great honor for him. Excuse me, he'll be participating in the NFL Players Association, I guess a bowl game coming up in January. A great opportunity for him to work in front of some front office people and scouts in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a tremendous opportunity for him. I mean, this is something that we were hoping would happen for him. We've had a lot of scouts in, and a lot of scouts talking about him as well, and they really like him. They like his motor. They like that he plays 60, 70 snaps a game, and the first snap is just like his last snap is just like his first snap. He plays 100 miles an hour all the time. I like how he runs to the ball, how he plays physical and aggressive on the defensive line, and hopefully this just opens opportunities up for him to maybe get into to the Senior Bowl or some other type of bowl as well. But very well-deserved honor by him, because all the work he's put in and the commitment, dedication. He's been a true leader of this team, and I just can't say enough great things about Nathan Shepard.
Well, hopefully it all works out for him, and that's the key. You get in a situation like that to get spotted, have more eyes on you of decision makers in the NFL, to just give an opportunity. I think that's all anyone at this level looks for, just an opportunity to maybe get invited to a camp and try to make a team.
Yeah, it is, because right now it's all the guys that kind of come in and watch video and evaluate kids, and it's not the main guys in the office that are here on our campus, looking at him, and this gives him an opportunity to get in front of those guys and show his talents and his gifts that he's been so blessed with. And it's just a great opportunity for those guys to see him, and hopefully they like what they see, and hopefully we can get him in the NFL draft.
Well, hopefully he can make a deep run, and you have more chances to get eyes on him here in the next month as Fort Hays State tries to make a run in the playoffs. We're going to take another break. We're going to talk about Saturday's game. Ferris State, the Bulldogs out of the GLIAC, the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. We'll do that when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers and Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. And we have more right after this.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Back on Tiger Talk, Gerard Weilbrock, head football coach Chris Brown. It's brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers and by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, where you can start your day off with a hot cup of coffee, breakfast from Mocha's, or try one of their signature sandwiches, paninis, salads, or wraps for lunch, along with your favorite drinks, plus cheesecake, scones, and a whole lot more. Something for every meal. Of course, the convenient drive-through, so you can stop by on your way to work each and every morning. Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro at the corner of 27th and Indian Trail in Hays. Fort Hays State will be hosting the Ferris State Bulldogs. They're out of the GLIAC, the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Finished second in their conference. They are 10-1, won 8-1 in that conference. And I mean, I think you look at Super Region 3, and you have to say it's probably the most difficult region of all of the four in Division II football when you consider the MIAA and the GLIAC, the GLIAC, two of the better conferences year in and year out in all of Division II football. So you're going to face a tough one on Saturday.
Yeah, we are. They're a very good football team. They got one loss, and that's a very good team they lost to. And when you look at our region, a lot of those teams are in the top 10, and it's it's going to be tough for us this week with Ferris coming into town. A very good football team. They're big, up front on the O-line and D-line. Very skilled at the wide receiver position. The quarterback, they got a dual quarterback. They use two of them at times as well. One runs really well and he throws really well. Reminds me of Travion, maybe a little bit more agile than Travion. The other kid's more of a pocket guy, but can still run pretty well. And then, defensively, they're big up front as well, and they got one of the best D linemen probably in the country, in Sealer. And he's a tremendous football player, but you just never know when you're watching film really what you're going to get, because you don't know the competition that they're playing. And we know the MIAA pretty well and who we're going against each week. But when you get to a game like this, you got to kind of prepare for everything and try to find out what your kids can do best and what's worked best throughout the season, and really focus on those things and get really, really good at those things, and hopefully that helps us win this ball game.
Yeah, that's kind of the unknown when you get to the postseason. And kind of a neat thing about playing, I guess you have familiarity when you play a conference opponent. That sometimes happens, but when you get to the playoffs, it's nice to play someone from another conference and square off against that way. But there is that great unknown. How do you go? Is it just film work? How do you go about preparing for an opponent like that you've never played before?
I think you just, as a coaching staff, we study tons and tons of film. But I think as a player, you really got to put the time in the film room and really see the guy you're going against, for that whole entire game. Especially O-line, D-line, what's his moves, what's his hand placement, what are his steps, what's his favorite pass rush, what's his favorite way to get off a block, just those little type of things. And then, our receivers doing the same thing. How's this guy play man-to-man coverage? How does he play zone coverage? What are his steps? How can I beat him? How can I get him turned? Then our quarterback looking at different coverages and how they're rolling, doing different things as well. And then, it's the same thing with our defense. Our defensive line needs to see their blocking schemes and exactly how they're trying to attack him and who's coming off on the double team and, those things. And our linebackers being able to read routes and secondary too. So a lot of it's just really focusing in on, the scheme of the whole offense or defense, but really figuring out how you're going to beat that guy across from you by figuring out their best moves and their favorite moves, and that way you can take advantage of it, when the game time comes.
I know you had a few injuries against Nebraska Kearney, and a few guys are going to be out for this one. I'd imagine the bye week helped just get everybody healthy. You get into week 11, you got, and there's no team in the country that isn't dinged and bruised a little bit, just to get those guys feeling a little bit better, closer to 100%. But with a couple of guys being out, I would imagine the extra time just to figure out how you're going to go about it, how you're going to attack this thing has been helpful.
Yeah, it has, and we got guys, in the backups that we feel can really fill into those positions and do a good job for us. And you got to have faith in those guys and trust those guys, because they put a lot of work and time in, just like the starters do. And we lost a few guys, but next man up. It's time for you to do your job. It's time to step up and be a man and help this program out and help us keep moving forward where we're going right now and help us win some more ball games. And it's just part of it. We've been very lucky up to this point with injuries and not having a lot of them. But this last game, we lost a few kids, but. Next guy up, it's time to play football, it's time to be a man, it's time to get after it.
Well, you've come this far, and I guess you're 11-0, you're in the playoffs, and and you probably go every team that's still playing has had injuries and they've lost players for the year. You gotta move on, because you've worked all this way to get here. Now's your opportunity, and you can't let something like that hold you back. Next guy up and give it your all, try to find a way to get a win.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's had injuries. Northwest has had injuries. Every team you look at in America has somebody that they were counting on through the year to, be there in that starting role. And, they're not there anymore. So the next guy's got to come in and be ready to go. And we always tell our kids, you never know when it's going to be your time to get on the football field. So even if you're a backup, you got to prepare as you're starting this game. You need to be ready to play this game or any game. And, hopefully our kids have done that. Hopefully they're ready to go. But, I have faith in our young men, and I know they'll be ready. And I know they'll be ready for a fun battle here on Saturday.
More on the matchup with Ferris State when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Our final segment coming up right after this.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here!
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it!
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Back on Tiger Talk, our final segment here this evening. The program brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where you can, of course, get the frozen custard and the steak burgers, cook-to-order food, also the Chicago-style hot dogs, piping hot shoestring fries, and don't forget about their great seasoning. You can also get that to go at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. And, of course, Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail. Fort Hays State and Ferris State, second round of the NCAA Division II playoffs at Lewis Field this Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. You talked about the dual threat quarterback. How do you prepare for that? Saw a little bit of that in conference play, but not a ton of that true dual threat who can run, and that's always, I know, gives defenses fits when you got to always account for that quarterback as another runner on the field.
We've worked it since day one at camp. Just your basic gun run rules: who has the dive, who has the quarterback, who has the pitch back, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, understands their job and their assignment, and then, in passing situations, our D-line's got to do a good job of just containing him and keeping him in the pocket. I mean, they're not going to be able to pick a gap and choose a gap, and give a little seam where he can get through. So, probably going to tempo rush a little bit, make sure our ends keep him contained in the pocket, let our tackles work back, and hopefully get some pressure and get some sacks on him as well. And then, maybe spine with the linebacker here and there. And, we got to do a good job in coverage. And, when he's scrambling, make sure that we stay in coverage and let those guys that are supposed to come out of coverage and not have too many guys coming out of coverage. But, it's part of the game. We've seen it with UCO Stallard. We saw it with Bowles, from UCM, and the Washburn quarterback as well was a good scrambler. The kid from Missouri Southern was a great scrambler as well. So, we've seen those guys. But this young man, he's pretty dynamic. He runs really well. He's very elusive, and he can throw the ball really well too. But the other guy backing up is kind of the same way. He's got a great arm, and doesn't run as well as the first team guy, but he can still run pretty good too. But it's just being disciplined, doing our assignment, doing our job, and making sure we keep them in the pocket and not let them out.
Well, we talk every week about the battle up front. It seems like it all starts there, and these guys are big. That's what really jumps out, I think, at you, is how big they are on both the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, they're all 300 pounds, and they're all 6'4" to 6'6", and they're big kids, and that's something we told our guys. They're going to come in here and they're going to be a big football team. And they're going to move some guys around. We just got to play hard for 4 quarters, hopefully wear them down and get them tired, and then take over the second half. And hopefully that's what happens for us. But we just got to stay to our game plan. Can't turn the ball over offensively. Got to create some turnovers on defense. Not have any stupid penalties, and and just make plays. And then do well, very, very well on special teams with changing field position. Hopefully we get some big returns and we can pin them deep and make them drive the 90 yards. Every series, and but that's what it's going to come down to, just which team makes the least amount of mistakes, doesn't turn the ball over, and doesn't have stupid penalties. If we can do those things, I think we'll have a good chance to win this game.
It'll be interesting. This is their 4th straight year in the playoffs. They got to the semifinals a year ago, losing to Northwest. This is your guys' first experience in that, and they played in bowl games, but this is a little bit different beast. How do you handle that? How do you prepare them for the pressure, the excitement, the anticipation, all those things that go along with making the playoffs?
We've talked to them, we've been fighting to get into the playoffs all year long, so every game, this season has almost been a playoff game for us, and especially when you get towards the end when you're playing Pitt, Washburn, Northwest, Emporia, Mo West, Kearney there at the end, and those are games that were like playoff games for us to make sure that we got into the playoffs. And I told our kids, let's just do what we've been doing the last 11 weeks. I mean, no sense in changing, game plans or lifting or the way we watch film or the way we play, our technique in football. Do the things that we've been taught the last 11 weeks, and things that work out for us. Don't change anything. It's another football game. We're starting a second season, and we got 4 steps to go to get to that national championship game, and this is step number 1, and that's how we approached each game this year, and we're just starting over. Now we're on step 1 again, and we're trying to get to step number 4.
And I think sometimes it's easy. You look at your opponent and you see their size and what they've done, and they've been to get wrapped up in, wow, they're really, really good, and kind of forget just won 11-0 and won the MIAA. Fort Hays State's pretty good too. I mean, it should be a great matchup, and your team should have no reason to feel that they can't go out there and not have to play above their heads. Just play their game. They'll be in it with a chance.
Yeah, take care of ourselves. Don't worry about what Ferris is doing. We know they're going to come in here and have a great game plan as well. We know they're going to come in here and be a very, very good football team. They're going to move the ball offensively and probably score some points. We know offensively we're going to have some 3 and outs, but we got to sustain some drives, get some first downs, and get points on the board as well. I mean, it's going to be a hard-fought game. I like those type of games. Those games are fun. The thing that we got to do is we got to be the most physical team on the field, and we got to play hard and take care of ourselves and make sure we don't turn the ball over, make sure we create some turnovers on defense, and just have fun. I mean, enjoy this opportunity. There's 16 teams left right now, and that's it. And we're one of those 16 teams. Let's enjoy this opportunity. Let's just keep playing hard, having fun, enjoying it, and let's see what happens.
Should be a lot of fun. I know a lot of people can't wait. Should be a great crowd on Saturday. Tigers and Ferris State. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. Have a great week of practice, and we'll see you at Lewis Field Saturday afternoon.
Thanks, Gerard.
That's head coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Again, it's a 1 o'clock kick. If you want to get tickets, better hurry. Contact the Fort Hays State Athletic Office, 628-4050. You can always go online at fhsuathletics.com and secure your tickets for the playoff game Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock, Lewis Field, the Tigers and the Ferris State Bulldogs. You can, of course, hear it on the Tiger Radio Mix 103 beginning at noon with the Auto World pregame show. You can miss any portion of this program, you can always catch it online at HaysPost.com. Be watching for that. And also the video replay on Eagle Cable's Channel 14 and 614 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So be sure to check that out as well. It's going to wrap up the program for today. It's brought to you as always by the HaysMed Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, as well as Horizon Appliance and Electronics. And of course, the fine folks at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers on North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. For head coach Chris Brown, this is Gerard Wellbrock. So long, everyone.